So let's talk a little bit about Warm Zombies. Obviously, it's made by Summit Entertainment, the same people who made the Twilight Saga. First of all, let me just say that starting now, I'm gonna use the sticky note program on my Android to keep little notes about the movie. I didn't start with this one. I started with the other one that I saw today. I do have a couple notes. First, I put that the character R is great. Yep, that's his name, R. And even in the end, that's the name that he keeps. So I think the characters in this are great, including the zombie ones, because they all do have personality somehow, or develop personality throughout the film. And then, of course, you've got the human characters. The girl who meets the father who is typical. And I'll get to that in a minute. The plot is great, but it is predictable in some places. For example, well, I can't go into that part yet because it's spoilers, so I'll come back to that. Anyway, it's predictable while surprising in others. I didn't know what was going to happen with the zombies in a movie like this, and what ends up happening to them is a surprise. What I loved was how, well, that's a spoiler. As a spoiler. Of course, you know that she's gonna kind of fall in love with this guy. This R zombie who saves her from in the beginning. He saves her instead of eating her. I love the whole end. And the very end. I think this is like a Twilight meets Hunger Games sort of deal. So I'm going to have to go into spoilers now because that's really the only way I can talk about this movie further. So anyway, going back to the plot is great, but predictable in some places. Some areas where it's predictable is, of course, when I loved how the zombies start to cure themselves because they see these human emotions that R is feeling, which R starts because I'll get to that in a second. He meets the girl when he eats her boyfriend. Her boyfriend, we should say. I'll get to that in a second. Anyway, when he eats her boyfriend, she doesn't know yet. Apparently, when these zombies eat brains, they get that person's memory, and R is narrating this movie, and he says that it makes him feel more human. Eating brains, yeah, makes you feel more human. But that's the case. That's how the zombies start. That's how he starts himself curing, and then when he brings her back to the airport and starts caring for her rather than eating her, that is when he really starts curing himself, and the other zombies end up seeing this and are like, ah, maybe we can cure ourselves too. So that's all the cure ends up being in this movie, is caring for people, having people care for them, and eventually their cold bodies turn into warm bodies because their heart starts back up, and it actually illustrates that very well in the film where, they show like a little illustration of their hearts start beating again. Now, of course, the father doesn't believe it when the father is the general, and the main character's second main character, the daughter, the now girlfriend of R. Of course, he won't believe it when she brings him R, and R is trying to explain to him that they are starting to cure themselves. Of course, he didn't. I wasn't 100% sure, but I was 95% sure that his father wasn't going to believe it. Now, some of the places where it was surprising was I didn't know if R was going to get killed or not. In the end, he does get shot by the father. Not in the same area where he's told, but what really got me here that was surprising was this was after the zombies or corpses started fighting the skeleton zombies, who are the really bad ones, the ones that are too far gone to cure. And they help the humans. I guess the skeletons are more powerful. They help the humans. They save the humans really from the skeletons. Okay, so zombies are curing themselves. I predicted this, but it was still great to make sure. It was great that they actually did it. I was hoping this would come up. I loved how R told her that he ate her boyfriend's brain, and she surprisingly takes it okay. Now that I didn't like so much. I thought that there should have been a little conflict here. Then again, I'm not usually for that conflict, so it's 50-50 there. But it was good that he told her, of course, that he ate her boyfriend's brain. But the fact of the matter is, he had to do that, and it turns out that she was falling out of love with him. So then I was like, oh, that makes sense now. Because he was falling too much in love with the military. I love the whole end, where he attempts to tell the dad the corpse and human versus the skeletons, as I said. And then I have Twilight and Hunger Games mixed. That's pretty much it for this movie. What am I going to rate it? I've been toying around with a 7 or an 8. Honestly, it doesn't deliver as much as Twilight does, but is this movie I'm going to buy? Probably not. This is a one-time thing, but it was good. 7 or 8? Give me 1 second to think about that. Because as great as R was, it still left something to be desired, so I'm going to give it a 7 out of 11. Still a good movie, still worth seeing. So what was negative about it? Well, I loved how it was like narrated, but there really was, I said R was a great character indeed, but R is only a great character because of the narration that is done. I think that the movie should have been more focused on R, the girl, and there should have been a longer attempt to get the zombies cured. Another thing I liked was, in the end, R is back to fully human, and all the other zombies, it shows how they're all like hanging out with the humans now, getting cured. Apparently R does have a zombie friend that he kind of communicates with, who ultimately like leads the curing area of the film, and ends up like falling in his own love at the end of the movie, actually, when he's starting to cure himself. And of course they destroy the wall up around the city. 9 minutes for a video like this. Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 11. And that's really it.